Dawkins' book, Climbing Mount Improbable, Review and Scientific Critique. In Climbing Mount Improbable, Richard Dawkins seeks to explain how complex biological structures can arise through a gradual, step-by-step process. Using the metaphor of climbing a mountain, Dawkins argues that what seems impossible from a distance, like the complexity of an eye or the wing of a bird, can be achieved by incremental steps if enough time and selection pressures are available. While Dawkins' analogy is interesting, it overreaches by suggesting that random mutation and natural selection alone can account for all aspects of biological complexity. His arguments do not address significant scientific challenges, including the origin of complex specified functional information, irreducibly complex systems, orphan genes and proteins, and the emergence of higher taxa. These features of life point to an intelligent cause, rather than undirected processes, as necessary to account for life's complexity. 1. Central thesis and the gradualist approach. Dawkins' central argument in Climbing Mount Improbable is that evolution can achieve even the most complex biological structures through gradual, cumulative steps. He contends that structures like the eye or a wing, which appear designed, are the products of natural selection acting on small, beneficial mutations over time. The metaphor of climbing a mountain reflects his belief that complex structures can be achieved if one takes an indirect path, avoiding steep cliffs that would require large, unlikely changes all at once. Gradualism and its limits for explaining complexity. While gradualism can explain microevolution, small adaptations within a species or genus, and low-level macroevolution, or speciation within a genus, it does not account for the vast complexity observed in life's higher forms. Dawkins assumes that random mutation and selection can climb from simple to highly complex structures, but empirical evidence does not support this when it comes to the creation of complex specified functional information and novel body plans seen in higher taxa. 2. Evidence supporting micro and low-level macroevolution only. The evidence supporting microevolution and low-level speciation is well documented. These processes involve adaptation within taxonomic boundaries through the reshuffling of genetic information or, at times, beneficial loss of function mutations. For example, minor structural adaptations or small environmental adjustments within a genus are common and observable. However, Dawkins extrapolates this to claim that random mutation and selection are sufficient for naturalistic mega-evolution. The origin of entirely new body plans, novel organ systems, and higher-level taxa, such as new phyla or classes. Limits of micro and low-level macroevolution for new body plans and taxa. While microevolution and low-level macroevolution operate within existing genetic frameworks, they do not produce the novel genetic information and structures required for mega-evolution. Higher taxa require new functional genes, regulatory networks, and structural novelties. The processes Dawkins relies on have never been shown empirically or experimentally to create these entirely new forms. Instead, they work within predefined limits, modifying existing structures without generating the complex information required for higher taxa. 3. Failure to account for complex specified functional information. Dawkins' framework does not provide an explanation for the origin of complex specified functional information, which is crucial for life's most intricate systems. Complex specified functional information is found in the highly organized sequences within DNA, proteins, and cellular structures, where each component must be arranged precisely to fulfill its function. Dawkins argues that natural selection and random mutation can incrementally build complexity, but this claim overlooks the astronomical statistical improbability and empirical impossibility of creating ordered and interdependent sequences by chance. Random mutation as an insufficient mechanism for specified functional information. Random mutations degrade or modify existing functions, rather than create new, functional sequences with high specificity. Beneficial mutations generally involve small adaptations within existing structures, rather than the development of entirely new, information-rich systems. The probabilistic challenges of generating specified information through undirected changes are immense, and Dawkins' model does not account for how such functional complexity could arise solely through random processes. Intelligent design as a better and more rational explanation. Specified complexity aligns with patterns associated with purposeful design, much like language or engineered systems. Intelligent design posits that the complex functional organization observed in biological systems reflects an intelligent cause. The specified functional information in DNA and protein structures is more consistent with intentional causation than random mutation and selection, pointing to a design-based origin for biological complexity. 4. Ignoring irreducible complexity. Dawkins' gradualist approach does not address the empirical reality of irreducible complexity. Irreducible complexity describes systems that require multiple interdependent parts to function, where the removal of any part results in a complete loss of function. Examples include the bacterial flagellum, the blood clotting cascade, and cellular molecular machines, all of which rely on precise coordination of numerous components. Challenges to gradual evolution of irreducibly complex systems. In an irreducibly complex system, no component alone offers an advantage, meaning that partial structures would not be preserved by natural selection. Dawkins suggests that components could have evolved independently and later combined, but this hypothesis is wishful thinking and is defeated by empirical evidence. Without a step-by-step, functional, testable, and falsifiable biochemical, gradualistic, empirical pathway that demonstrates the stepwise formation of such systems, the existence of irreducible complexity remains a defeater against Dawkins's model. Irreducible complexity as evidence for intelligent design. Irreducible complexity posits that certain systems were intentionally designed to function as cohesive units, rather than assembled through cumulative random mutations. Intelligent design provides a better and more rational explanation for these systems, positing that they were purposefully created to perform specific functions, rather than arising through undirected evolutionary processes. 5. Orphan genes and proteins as defeaters of Dawkins' model. Orphan genes and proteins, unique genetic elements with no evolutionary precursors in other species, pose a significant problem for Dawkins' gradualist model. Orphan genes appear suddenly in higher taxonomic lineages and perform essential lineage-specific functions, yet lack any homologs or ancestral sequences. This sudden appearance of functional genetic information cannot be explained by cumulative selection acting on pre-existing genes, as Dawkins proposes. Sudden emergence of orphan genes and lack of gradual precursors. Orphan genes do not fit within a gradualist framework, as they show up fully formed without any gradualistic functional antecedents. Dawkins' reliance on mutation and selection does not account for the origin of such genes, which serve specific functions without preceding versions in allegedly ancestral species. The existence of orphan genes aligns more closely with the idea of intelligent design, where unique genetic information is purposefully introduced rather than gradually assembled. 6. No testable mechanism for the formation of complex functional systems. Dawkins' model lacks a step-by-step, testable, falsifiable, and experimentally observable biochemical pathway for the creation of complex specified functional information or irreducibly complex systems through mutation and selection. Scientific inquiry requires mechanisms that are testable and falsifiable, but Dawkins' model provides no experimental or observational evidence showing that random mutation and natural selection alone generate irreducibly complex structures or the specified information necessary for life's higher complexity. Absence of experimental evidence for naturalistic mega-evolution, while microevolution and low-level speciation inside a genus or taxonomic family are supported by experimental and observational data. There is no experimental evidence demonstrating the generation of novel body plans, functional nanomachines, or complex genetic information through undirected processes. Without a testable, falsifiable, experimentally observable biochemical pathway, Dawkins's model remains wishful thinking when applied to the emergence of complex biological systems. Intelligent design, by contrast, posits that these systems reflect purposeful design, addressing the empirical limitations of undirected processes. 7. Philosophical bias against intelligent design. Dawkins' commitment to a materialistic framework precludes him from considering intelligent design as a viable scientific explanation. His assumption that all complexity must arise from undirected processes reflects a philosophical bias rather than empirical evaluation. This bias limits the scope of his analysis, as he excludes design-based explanations despite the evidence for specified complexity and irreducible systems. Intelligent design as a scientific framework for understanding complexity. Intelligent design is a legitimate scientific hypothesis, positing that certain features of life indicate design rather than undirected causes. By examining characteristics like specified complexity, functional interdependence, and unique genetic sequences, intelligent design provides a better and more rational framework for understanding life's origins. Dawkins' exclusion of design limits his understanding and leads to an incomplete view of biological complexity. Conclusion: climbing Mount Improbable provides an interesting metaphor for understanding microevolution and low-level speciation within a limited framework, inside a genus or taxonomic family. Dawkins' arguments illustrate how small changes can lead to adaptive advantages within species and genus boundaries. However, his belief that random mutation and natural selection are sufficient to explain all levels of complexity, including the origin of new body plans and irreducibly complex systems, is not supported by empirical or experimental evidence. The mechanisms of micro and low-level speciation do not account for the emergence of complex specified functional information, irreducibly complex systems, and orphan genes. Dawkins' materialistic perspective leads him to dismiss intelligent design without fully addressing the scientific challenges it raises. Intelligent design offers a better and more rational explanation for the origins of complex specified information and irreducible systems, showing that life's intricate, functionally complex organization reflects intentional causation. By incorporating intelligent design for the origin of the higher taxa, alongside natural mechanisms for adaptation of species and genera inside a taxonomic family, a more comprehensive framework emerges, one that acknowledges the limitations of random mutation and selection, and considers the role of an intelligent cause in shaping the complexity of life. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And comment below if you agree or would like to add your thoughts. If you would like me to respond to your comment, please make a Level 1 comment directly below the video. I will respond to all polite Level 1 comments, even if it takes me a while due to other commitments.